Kevin Wilson with Humanly. I've been working in the TA tech world for just over 10 years, and I've spent 6 years working on this product. And what we're really focused on at Humanly is attacking the top of the funnel. That's helping with sourcing passive candidates, that's sorting your inbound applicants, understanding your employees' networks to source referrals, not wait for referrals, but actually go out and find them. And then from a CRM perspective, keeping tabs on everybody we've ever spoken to, right? Updating the data and re-engaging with them at the right time to get them back on your calendar, right? And like when we talk to recruiters, and what we hear all the time is, yeah, about 45% of your time is spent not talking to candidates. And on the flip side, the candidates are similarly frustrated, right? Both sides are bogged down in, for the recruiter, that's updating the ATS and bugging your hiring manager to actually fill out their scorecard. And on the candidate side, they're just wondering what the heck is actually happening. And I know we're hearing AI constantly, and in a lot of cases, I think we're still wondering, what actually does that mean for me? When we think about it at Humanly, I think like one of the best ways to leverage AI is to speed up this process, right? Identify blockers here to be able to get in front of the right people faster and move them through that process, because that's what ultimately is going to be the difference maker in winning or losing candidates. How quickly can we actually get their application reviewed, get them to the next step? That alone is one of the biggest differentiators in the candidate experience and is going to set you apart from your talent competitors, right? So that's what we're really laser focused on. Now, when we do this, we must not compromise that candidate experience though, right? Yes, we absolutely want to make the recruiter's life easier and more efficient, but that cannot come at the expense of the candidate, because then all of those gains from the automation and the efficiency is lost if we're not providing a really high quality candidate experience. And that, again, I'll just say one more thing about AI before I actually start showing you the product. What I do at Humanly is I work with both prospective and current customers. As a salesperson, I think about AI a lot. Going to replace me? And I think it's maybe too soon to actually tell, but to me, the most important thing is to think about, how can we center the human in the process, right? Like, why are you a recruiter? It's because you're a people person. You're really good at speaking with people, getting them excited about the role, and understanding what makes them tick, what motivates them, will they be a good fit? So that's what we as professionals, period, recruiters, salespeople, you name it, that's what we need to be focusing on, right? Is human element. How can we emphasize that? And the thing is, it's a puzzle piece that fits together, right? Because the more that you leverage AI to do some of those things that are non-human, right? Updating spreadsheets, the more you can actually focus on being better prepared for that phone screen, right? Or taking the time to really understand what's going on with the candidate and prepping them for the next step. So that's our guiding principle, right? Yes, we're super excited about AI. We're going to leverage the heck out of it, but it needs to be done in the right way to ensure a positive candidate experience. So like I said at the beginning, we are hyper focused on the top of the funnel, right? And solving that issue for you. So with our product, you're going to integrate it with your ATS, right? And that's, like I said, we're hyper focused on the top of the funnel. We are currently not interested in building our own ATS, right? We'd rather integrate with yours and just be really good at that top of funnel activity, right? So that's our lane that we want to stay in. So with that ATS integration, we can do a lot of things for you, because I think that's another important thing to like actually really be focused on when you're leveraging AI and automation. What kind of things can we do for you in the background? We want you to click less buttons, not more buttons, right? So once we get that ATS integrated, we're doing a lot of things in the background so that you can just get started engaging with candidates. So here in this example, we're looking at this demo job, strategic sales director, and you can see I see Martha saying, make the screen bigger. Is this better now, or do we need to make this a little bigger?
I just shut off your camera, so that will give us more real
Okay.
estate slides, and hopefully that will help.
Okay, sweet. Is that better? I'm just going to assume yes, unless somebody says no. Okay, so we're looking at this job, strategic sales director. And in this demo example, the ATS is Greenhouse. We integrate with a ton of ATSs, right? And so we can always confirm with you if we can work with your ATS. But in this example, we have Greenhouse. So the second the job is created in Greenhouse, the job will show up here, right? So there's no, okay, I need to come into Humanly and I need to open up my project and start sourcing. It's here for you. It's ready to go. What we're also pulling in from the ATS is the job description, but also we're going to be looking at who are you actually talking to for that role? Who's in the ATS that's relevant for that role? And what can we learn from that? So right here at the top, I have this set of calibration candidates, right? And so what we're doing here is we're taking in these calibration, these example candidates to build an ideal candidate profile. And then we will show you similar candidates across all sources. Passive candidates on the left, inbound applicants for this role in the middle. We've got all of your employees' first degree connections here, so you can actually go out and source their networks. And then finally on the right, you have the CRM. This is everybody you've ever talked to ever, right? And we're keeping tabs on them. We're updating the information on their profile so that you can be considering them for the relevant role, and not the role that they applied for 3-4 years ago, right? So coming back to these calibration candidates, where do they actually come from? So I named one, right? And that is the ATS itself, right? So anybody that's interviewing for this role and is beyond the recruiter screen stage is going to show up here as a calibration candidate. Anybody that you use our platform to reach out to will also show up as a calibration candidate, right? So you give us these examples, and then we're going to ingest every single thing about that profile to then start showing you results. That's another great use case for AI, right? Like instead of having to build out this super complex search string, just feed us the profiles. We'll ingest all the data there and build the search on your behalf, right? What if you don't have examples? We'll take the JD and our AI will suggest potential examples, which you can say, yeah, that's a good example, or no, it's not. Or you can literally just give us a manual example. Maybe that's somebody that actually was already working at your company and has a great profile and you want to see more people like them. Maybe it's somebody that's not looking, right? But that's how we get these examples. And then again, we start showing you results down below. So I'm going to go into these results, but I also just want to again call out one of the cool things here is I have all sources of candidates, because when I speak with recruiting and sourcing leaders a lot, they just tell me, okay, like when my team gets a new rec, it's always back to the drawing board. Let's go find some new people. But and that's great. Passive candidate sourcing, we love it, right? It's wonderful. But chances are there's probably some pretty good people that are already in your ATS that you've spoken to, that know your brand. It's going to be a lot easier to get in touch with them. But the problem is your ATS is static. It's hard to interrogate, right? So if we can pull that out and display it to you here and serve up examples all in one single page, your team is not just going to be locked into one mode of sourcing. You can just easily look across all different types of candidates, whether they're passive, inbound, referral, or CRM. I'm over here in recommended. That's the passive section. So if I go ahead and just click into a profile, we're going to tell you why we suggested Sean right here in plain text. You'll also see over on the right, Sean's profile. And we've gone ahead and we've enriched his profile. So it's not just about his titles and years of experience. It's the context in which he had those titles and those years of experience. So yeah, we probably have heard of Atlassian, right? But let's like pretend like we haven't. So if I want to click this expander, it's going to actually tell me what this company is, what industries are relevant, and then what actually happened at that company while Sean worked there. How big was it? What was the growth rate? What funding round stages did he see? And at what stage did he join the company? Because when we were speaking with our customers, this company context again and again came out as one of the number one things for whether or not a candidate was going to be qualified. So that's why we went ahead and we got a ton of company data from places like Crunchbase, company websites, press releases, and we enriched it onto the candidate profile. And again, like this is something that you could be doing manually as a sourcer or recruiter, but you can't know all the companies all the time. Like you guys are pretty good, but nobody can, right? But we can just go get all that data and put it on the profile for you. So cool. Sean looks great. Let's reach out. I can go ahead and just click this engage button. And if I already had a campaign, great. I could go ahead and select it and use it. But I can also just ask to generate a campaign on the fly. And what it's going to do is it's going to take the job description. It's going to take Sean's profile, right? So you can see this little custom sentence about Sean here. It sounds like you've been at Atlassian for a year, and I wanted to ping you and hear how things are going. I'd also love to learn more about your work with enterprise accounts. So that's like literally pulled from his profile and added to the message. So we have the JD, we have Sean's profile. The third kind of aspect of the prompt here is going to be our data on what recruiting threads are working the best right now. So we see a couple 100,000 every single month. Which emails are getting the most replies? How long are they? What keywords are there? For instance, if you have remote in your job description, you're going to see 33% more replies if you put it in your first message. So if we see that in your JD, we're going to embed that best practice right into the campaign, right? That's how AI should work. It should take those kinds of big data insights and serve them up to you. And then you as a sourcer, as a recruiter, you just edit this, right? And just make it your voice and improve it a little bit and then hit send, right? You can send as whoever you like in the organization, right? But you can still be the reply handler. And yeah, just in one click, get that outreach campaign out to them, have it sync back to the ATS. And Sean replies, this campaign will stop. And we actually have this reply handling component where basically if Sean comes back and says that he's interested, we can auto reply back to him as the sender and then supply our calendar solution to allow him to quickly book that first phone screen, right? So that's how we get that promise of sync up your ATS and then start seeing qualified candidates show up on your calendar in the next few days. And actually, I think I'm like getting close to running up on time, but I do want to highlight this reply section really quick because when I talk about not leveraging AI unless you're improving the candidate experience, this is actually a really good example because with this reply handling, like we did not start using AI here until we saw that not only could AI do this faster than humans, because of course it could, right? And that's just like one of the obvious things about leveraging AI. It's going to move faster. It's on 24/7. Not only could the replies be handled faster by AI, but they actually were handled more accurately, which kind of boggles the mind to think about, right? But again, this is just like a perfect example of leveraging AI in the process because candidate replies to you, but it's 4:30 and you're taking your kid to soccer practice and it's Thursday, right? And then Friday, you're totally going to respond to Sean, but you don't because you get caught up. And then the weekend comes and now you haven't replied to Sean for about 4 days. That's the point of this reply handler. Let's get Sean on the calendar and in the process as fast as possible. So I hope that was a helpful teaser of the platform. I know we have a poll question about wanting to see a demo. Yeah, definitely fill that out if you're interested in learning more. Of course, you also can just go to our website and hit book demo in the top right.
I've got the demo request poll up, and then we can also run, we've got another poll that asks about the biggest challenge in engaging and moving candidates through the hiring process. So we'll run that in just a second because we're curious to see those results as well. Kevin, there are a couple of questions in the Q&A. Let me see if any of these are related to, looks like that might be a FAMA question.
We have some in the chat. So does it integrate with Team Tailor? Yes. Pricing for the CRM, absolutely happy to discuss that with you, Alan. It's pretty basic. It's going to be determined on the amount of users that you have. Does it integrate with Outlook? Absolutely. Yeah.
And we've got a poll up right now. What's your biggest challenge in engaging and moving candidates through the hiring process? Be interested to see these results. Want to thank everybody for being on today's webinar. This was our first Tech Demo Tuesday. We're going to try to do these 3 or 4 times a year. I think it's a great way to bring the most innovative, cutting-edge technology to the recruiting community, just so everybody can see what's possible when you really work on developing a great tech stack. So huge thank you to our sponsors, Jim, Fama, and Humanly. Big thank you to everybody who tuned in to today's webinar. As we mentioned at the beginning, this was recorded, and we will be sending out the link to the recording by the end of the day today. And I'm going to go ahead and close. Actually, I'll expand the results of this poll. Looks like all of the above is the most popular.
Yeah, that's pretty funny. Yeah, and low response rate. Yeah, low response rate is an interesting one. I talked back to starting my career about 10 years ago in TA, and that's when email automation didn't exist, right? And it's also when LinkedIn was salespeople and recruiters. Now everybody can find everybody and everybody can automate everything. Yeah, like when you're approaching candidates, it's more about how are we approaching them? How are we pitching our company? How are we pitching the leadership team and the opportunity? And then once we get them on the phone, that candidate experience, right? Like how quickly can we move them through? It's definitely a fun problem to attack.
Absolutely. I think this was a great presentation. Kevin, thank you so much for giving us a dive into the capabilities here. And without any further ado, I think we can draw this to a close. So thank you everybody for your time, and pay attention to our webinar page on the site so you can see some of the upcoming topics that we're going to cover, and hope to see you at the next Tech Demo Tuesday. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.